My name's Ethan Caldwell, and for the last 12 years, I've been the guy keeping the lights on, digitally speaking, at Horizon Dynamics, a mid-sized logistics company in Raleigh, North Carolina. You won't find my name on the company website or in the annual reports, but I built their entire IT backbone from a mess of outdated servers and paper logs into a system that keeps trucks rolling across 6 states. I turned a one-man IT desk into a 12-person team that never let a glitch stop a delivery. In Raleigh, where logistics is king, that's no small feat. I didn't plan to stay this long. After my divorce, I took the job to get back on my feet, something to fill the days while I figured out what came next. But I was damn good at it. Those servers, those networks, they became mine, not on paper, but in every way that counts. I was the guy who kept the wheels turning, even when the power grid failed or a cyber attack tried to hold us hostage. The trouble started at a lunch I didn't see coming. It was at the Oak Room, one of those upscale spots with linen napkins where execs wine and dine clients. Not a place you fire someone, but James Whitaker, our CEO, loved his optics. Over a $50 ribeye, he leaned in, all smiles, and said, "Ethan, you've been a rock for us, but we're shifting gears. We need someone with a bold vision for tech's future." Translation: they'd found a replacement, cheaper, younger, and, surprise, connected. The owner's nephew, Tyler Grant, fresh off a master's from Stanford, was their new golden boy, specializing in cloud innovation. I nodded, sipped my iced tea, and asked, "Who's handling the transition?" "6 weeks, James said, looking relieved I wasn't causing a scene. "We'll announce it after the quarterly meeting. You'll train Tyler." I signed the NDA. He slid across the table before the cheesecake arrived, shook his hand and said, "I got it. Business is business." But back at my desk, I noticed my admin access was already downgraded, my name scrubbed from the leadership email chain. They'd made the call weeks ago, maybe months. That night, sleep didn't come. Not from anger, though I had plenty. Not from worry about my next gig, but from something I'd spotted in the server logs 2 months earlier. Unauthorized access attempts from an IP tied to the C-suite. Someone was sniffing around my systems, my encryption protocols, my failover scripts, my disaster recovery plans. They weren't just replacing me, they were strip mining everything I'd built. I moved to Raleigh 13 years ago with my ex-wife Lauren when she landed a teaching job at NC State, left a solid cybersecurity role in Charlotte to follow her dream. We were in our late 20s, full of plans. The divorce hit me like a freight truck. No big fights, no cheating, just her saying, "We're not the same people anymore." Papers on the counter, and she was gone. I crashed on my buddy's couch, took the Horizon job to fix their ransomware-ravaged network, and figured I'd move on in a year. But I saw what they could be. Their logistics hub, millions in contracts, hundreds of drivers, ran on systems one bad day from collapse. I pitched James a 3-year modernization plan. He gave me the budget and I got to work. For years, I barely saw sunlight, rewrote every network protocol, trained drivers on digital manifests, built redundancies that kept us online during a hurricane that knocked out half the Southeast. The board started noticing. James brought me to strategy meetings. My budget doubled. I hired a team, folks like Sarah Nguyen, my deputy who could troubleshoot a server blindfolded, and Marcus Reed, a coding wizard who'd rewrite scripts on the fly. We weren't just IT, we were why Horizon could guarantee deliveries no matter what. At the 2021 company retreat, majority owner Richard Hayes clapped my shoulder and said, "Ethan, you made us a player. We couldn't scale without you." I thought I'd found my place. The first red flag waved last October. A consultant, unannounced, showed up to review our tech stack. He asked basic questions about systems I'd architected, like he was reading from a script. When I asked who sent him, he name-dropped the executive team and pivoted fast. Then my access to board meeting notes vanished from the shared drive, labeled a file reorganization error. In November, James started canceling our weekly check-ins, always with a polished excuse. At the holiday party, I overheard Richard praising his nephew Tyler, the Stanford grad, saying, "Big tech's fighting over him." I didn't connect the dots. Should've. The final clue hit when Sarah tipped me off about a strategy session she'd been pulled into, one I should have led. When she brought up my name, James deflected. "Something's weird," she said, eyes narrowed, "like they're boxing you out." I laughed it off, but deep down, I knew she was right. Lauren always said I was too loyal for my own good. 2 days after the lunch, I stood in the server room at 9 p.m., the hum of cooling fans steadying my nerves. I'd picked every piece of hardware in here, designed every failover. This was my domain. A voice broke the silence. "Burning the midnight oil?" It was Tyler Grant, leaning in the doorway. Polished shoes, designer glasses, maybe 28. He had the easy confidence of someone who'd never been told no. "Just checking systems," I said. "You need something?" "Getting a feel for things," he replied, strolling in like he already ran the place. "James said you'll walk me through it soon." He scanned the racks. "Solid setup. A little dated, but it works." "Dated?" I raised an eyebrow. I'd overhauled these systems 6 months ago. "Your documentation's top-notch," he went on, ignoring me. "I've been digging through it, got some ideas to streamline things." He said it like he was tossing me a bone. "Can't wait to hear him," I said, my voice flat. After he left, I checked the logs. Tyler's admin credentials were active a month before my lunch with James. He'd already downloaded my entire protocol library. They were bleeding me dry before the boot. I texted Marcus, "Coffee tomorrow, 7 a.m., Brood Awakening." That night I drove to Lake Wheeler, where Lauren and I used to picnic. The water was still under the stars. I thought about James calling me the guy who keeps us running when he made me IT director. Funny how fast that changed. Marcus was at the coffee shop when I got there, nursing a black coffee, looking like he hadn't slept. "They're screwing you," he said as I sat down. "I figured it out last week. They've been quizzing me on your systems, acting like it's routine." "When did it start?" I asked. 3 weeks ago. Tyler's been asking how much of your code we really need." He shook his head. "I should have told you, man. I'm sorry." "No sweat," I said. Marcus had a newborn. He couldn't rock the boat. "What's your read?" "They think it's all in the manuals," he said. "But we both know it ain't." He was right. My proprietary tools, the load balancers, the real-time tracking patches, the client portal, weren't fully documented. I'd built them on my own time, before and during Horizon. "I'm not out to burn the place down," I said, "but I'm not handing over what's mine." Marcus nodded. "What do you need?" "Backups of my personal code, and a heads up on who's still got my back." The announcement came at the quarterly all-hands. James, all charisma, talked up New Horizons and introduced Tyler, who flashed a practiced smile. "Ethan's been a cornerstone," James said, not meeting my eyes. "We're grateful for his role in this transition." The room buzzed. Sarah caught my gaze, her expression a mix of anger and worry. I gave her a slight nod. After, I met with James and HR's Linda Carter. I pointed out that my core system, Nexus Flow, was my IP, developed before I joined Horizon and licensed to them. Linda pushed a contract across the table. "Per your employment agreement, all work during your tenure is ours." "Not Nexus Flow," I said. "The original code predates my hire. Check the 2013 licensing clause." James shifted, uncomfortable. "We'll review it," he said, but his tone screamed stall. The next day, my dev server access was locked. Tyler held a team meeting without me. When I showed up, he bristled but recovered fast. "Ethan, good to see you. We're tweaking the dispatch system." "Which part?" I asked, leaning against the wall. "The routing algorithms," he said, all confidence. "We're simplifying them." "Those algorithms cut delivery times by 15%, I said. "They're tailored to our fleet." Sarah jumped in. "They're not just code. Ethan built them after the 2020 backlog crisis." Tyler's smile faltered, but he waved it off. "We're modernizing. Appreciate the context." Later, I got an email from legal claiming Nexus Flow as company property, offering a $10,000 bonus. Then Marcus texted, "Tyler's doing one-on-ones. Asked if your systems are over-engineered, fishing for dirt." That night, a supplier emailed my personal account about a new contract I hadn't seen. James had signed a deal to transfer my vendor sync tools to a startup, Tyler's buddy's company. They weren't just pushing me out, they were carving up my work for profit. I called Rachel Kim, a cybersecurity contact from my Charlotte days. We met at a Greasy Spoon outside Durham. Legally, they've got you pinned, she said, skimming my contract. But why now? Company's thriving. That's what's bugging me, I said. She offered to poke around. Nothing shady, just public records. 2 days later, she called. Horizon's prepping for a buyout. Coastal Logistics, out of Wilmington, is in talks. The deal hinges on streamlined tech and new leadership. Your systems are the centerpiece. She paused. Richard Hayes sold most of his shares last quarter. The execs get fat bonuses and Coastal jobs post-sale. The kicker? Emails showed James and Richard planning my exit 8 months ago, while I was fighting a DDoS attack. I drove to an empty lot where I'd first sketched Nexus Flow years back, sat in my truck, and dug through old hard drives. Found it. The original Nexus Flow code, predating Horizon, plus James's emails confirming it was my IP. He'd promised to formalize ownership later. Sucker. The next day, Tyler, James, and Linda ambushed me. We're moving up your exit, James said. Last day's Friday. 2 weeks, not 6. Why the rush? I asked. Tyler's exceeding expectations, Linda said, and your attitude hasn't helped. I nodded. What about Nexus Flow's ownership? James's jaw tightened. Legal says it's ours. Take the severance, Ethan. I'll have my lawyer look it over, I said, walking out. I texted Marcus. Plan B, tonight. At 2 a.m., Marcus met me in a Walmart parking lot, handing over a flash drive. Your code, logs, keys, all there. I clapped his shoulder. Why stick your neck out? Because they think we're all expendable, he said. Over the weekend, I documented everything. Nexus Flow's origins, James's emails, the licensing terms. Monday, Sarah whispered. Tyler botched your monitoring system, missed alerts. Line 3 was down 4 hours, cost $80,000. I stayed stone-faced. That's rough. She eyed me. They're coming for me next. Tyler's questioning my role. I slid her an envelope. If things get weird, open this. It's got everything. She nodded, no questions. I met 3 patent lawyers, filed provisional patents on Nexus Flow's core modules. Tuesday, I played the good soldier, handing Tyler his requested docs, sitting through his meetings. That night, Rachel helped me set up an offsite server. I ported Nexus Flow to run independently of Horizon's grid. Wednesday, Coastal Logistics emailed my personal account, wanting to talk post-exit. I forwarded it to my lawyer and set a meeting for next week. That night, I used Marcus's saved credentials to update Nexus Flow, added digital signatures to flag unauthorized changes, set the license to expire in 8 days, post-exit, built a clean renewal path, sign a fair deal, and it runs. No sabotage, just ownership. Thursday, Tyler cornered me. Team says you're acting off. Something up? I shrugged. Just tying loose ends. He said they'd reset all passwords post-exit. Smart, I said. Won't touch Nexus Flow's core, though. That's its strength. He squinted, unsure if I was bluffing, then let it go. Friday, I turned in my badge, skipped Tyler's fake farewell lunch, and left. James passed me in the hall, barely nodding. 12 years reduced to that. Monday, 7 a.m. Nexus Flow's license expired. Every terminal at Horizon's hubs flashed. License expired. Contact developer to renew. By 8, deliveries stalled. By 9, all hubs were down. At 10, James called, voice shaking. What did you do? License ran out, I said. I'm open to renewal talks. He called it sabotage. I cited the 2013 agreement, Clause 7, licensing Nexus Flow, not owning it. I've sent terms to legal, fair compensation, ownership acknowledgement, NDA on my exit. By 3 p.m., their lawyers caved. By 5, we signed. 3 days later, Coastal's VP offered me a consulting gig leading their integration. Double my old salary, full autonomy. What about Tyler, I asked. He grimaced. Moving on. Tyler was gone within weeks, botched systems costing Horizon key clients. James stayed CEO but got a ceremonial role at Coastal. No real clout. I felt no thrill, just calm. A month later, I bought a fixer-upper near Jordan Lake. Nothing grand, just a porch with a view. Sarah and Marcus joined my consulting firm, then half my old team. Partners, not employees. A year later, I ran into James at a Raleigh brewery. He hesitated, then approached. "You played it better," he said. I met his eyes, saw the weariness. "Wasn't about playing, it was about knowing my worth." He nodded and left. I sipped my beer, watching the skyline glow, thinking about systems, what we build, what we protect, and what endures.